Hi, welcome again. So, today let's talk about drafting. I'm sure by now you must have all started drafting something or the other, whether it's a suit, whether it's a petition, whether it's a notice, whether it's a reply. So, drafting is a skill which every lawyer should possess because based on your draft, the entire legal proceeding takes place. So, if you make a good draft, you have a good case. If you make a weak draft, the case becomes weak. So, hence, drafting is extremely important. How good is a draft? So, there is nothing as perfectly good draft because as a human being, you will never be satisfied with your work completely, and there is always a scope for improvement. But there are some general tips that I wish to give you in this video, which will definitely help you in attempting to make a good draft. Like I said, there is really no perfect draft because every lawyer, every senior has their own way and style of drafting, and as a junior, you will adopt the style of your senior or you will take inspiration from the way your senior works. So you may adopt his or her drafting strategy, but obviously we can lay down some general rules, and I would just like to share some of them. So number one, uh, this is the single most important tip that I want to give you, and that is that be in a habit of reading each and every paper very carefully. Have that habit of reading your brief from the first page to the last page because you really don't know which paper will come in handy to you. Number two, never assume. You never know which paper will come in very handy to you. So, even a smallest chit of paper that a client has given could be of great value and importance to you. Number three, be in a habit of making notes. While you're reading the brief or you're reading the file, always make note of what you're reading. Make a note of what you feel is important pertaining to the case. Because if you have volume of papers, it's going to be very difficult for you to take your memory back and forth. So that's the reason why making notes will come in very handy, because if you make a note of a page and the type of remark that you want to put on that, it will be very easier for you to just go directly to that particular page rather than waste your time in searching for that. You can also start flagging things because it's very basic, but yes, flagging always helps because it saves a lot of time. And let me tell you that once you start practicing, once your practice starts flourishing, time is something which you will really have to manage well. So that's why be in a habit of flagging. Fourth, identify the law which is applicable to the case. Go and see the sections which are covering the case at hand. It's extremely important to identify the law. We have so many laws in this country. Knowing which law is applicable to a case in hand is extremely important. The biggest confusion that you will have in the earlier days of your practice, or as a fresher or as a junior associate, is that you will probably be lost as to which law is applicable. So applicability of law is extremely important, and that is where your attempt should now be after you read the papers and files. Once you know which law is applicable, go to the section. Fifth tip that I want to give you is that read the section, because what you read in the section will set the scope of your pleading. Remember that your pleading cannot go beyond the scope of any section. If you are dealing with a suit, then you will have to stick to the rules and orders of the civil procedure code. Anything beyond that may not result in your favor. Hence, see the section, read the section very carefully. Number six, start looking for judgments, start researching, start looking for the case laws, because in India, case laws are extremely important. The Supreme Court cases, the judgments given by the various high courts in the country are extremely important and are tremendous source of knowledge and experience for any junior lawyer. So once you know the sections, once you know the law, once you know the section, then the next obvious thing is for you to find out the leading cases pertaining to that section. And then you will have to see the applicability of those case laws to your particular case in hand. So hence that is where your knowledge of law will actually come into play. When you start researching, when you start looking for Supreme Court or High Court cases, you will have to read them carefully. You will have to understand whether a particular case is applicable in your case or no, and then you will have to segregate those cases. You will find plethora of cases in this country. The databases available right now are from 1951 onwards. You will find hundreds of cases, but not each and every case is important to your case. What is important, you need to separate, segregate, and then eventually analyze. Seventh point that I wish to share with you is that make the draft lucid and simple. Trust me, the old style of drafting, that is archaic English, is completely outdated. Keep the draft simple. Keep it readable. Don't be verbose. It is absolutely not possible for a judge to read a petition which is verbose, because the judges are loaded with work. They have lots of cases to deal with, and if you make a verbose draft or a pleading, then it is not going to be possible for a judge to read that completely. And it is important that you present a case in a best manner with the least amount of time that a judge needs to take. And that is a challenge. And this is a challenge which is thrown by the present situation, that the judges are overloaded, the courts are overloaded, there is huge pendency. On a given day, in a normal working circumstances, we are now in COVID situation, but in a normal circumstances, probably must be taking up 70 to 80 cases in a day, or maybe more. So it is humanly not possible for them to read a verbose petition or a voluminous draft. So keep it simple, keep it lucid, keep it readable, but at the same time convey your point very clearly in a language that is understandable to everyone. Last but not the least, show your draft to your senior. I'm sure you are working with some senior. I'm sure you must be considering someone as your mentor, guide, or a senior. Please share the draft with them. And last but not the least, please learn from your mistake, because only a good draft will be a solid foundation for any of your future cases. A good draft of a pleading will define you as a lawyer. Thank you very much.